So as we enter November and December, times of the year when everybody stay busy and people like to spend choke money, I'm reminded of the phrase, "Lucky you live Hawaii." I think this phrase, which used to be much more common back in the old days, has been somewhat overshadowed by priced out of paradise. But I want to highlight this idea of lucky you live Hawaii. Not really that luck has much to do with it, because frankly, most of us here and most of what's here is because of the sacrifices of the generations before us. But just to share some of the good things about living in Hawaii. On this channel, I try to point out mostly the realities of living in Hawaii, and maybe sometimes I stray too far to the difficulties and I don't necessarily share some of the good things. It's a fine balance though, because I don't want to promote this glamorous lifestyle. There's plenty of that already online. I just want to share my opinions on life here, good and bad. And I'm not talking about the things that you'll typically see online from social media influencers like glamorous lifestyles or even the perfect family. I'm talking more about the things that I think everyday local people in just the business of life, maybe we forget these things sometimes. And yet these things are essential to life in Hawaii. They're critical, and without them, I think Hawaii would not really be Hawaii. The first is family, and not to Lilo and Stitch this up too much, but ohana. I'm very grateful to have family here. Both my parents are still here, my brother, aunties, uncles, cousins, their kids. We have a really good network here. But more than just lucky to have family here, I'm glad that our family is close, because there's a difference between just having family here and actually being close, enjoying each other. And by close, I'm also not talking about proximity to each other where we all live in the same house, because I'm sure there are households here that everybody live together, but they actually aren't that close. I'm glad that my family is close, that we like to spend time together and we make time together. My boys are growing up so fast already. One's in kindergarten, one's in the middle of preschool, and it is true. They do grow up really quickly. And I'm glad that I'm able to be a part of that, to be involved in their school, in their activities, and really just to be there for them, that I'm not so busy that I can still spend time with them, wrestle with them, talk story, put them to bed, help them with their homework. A lot of the things that I know in the future, fast forward 5-10 years from now, they're just not gonna need me as much. I'm also happy to see our family grow. We're expecting baby number 3. Not sure how that's all gonna work, but it's coming. And I'm grateful and thankful and looking forward to the opportunity to raise up a young kid, to learn from all the mistakes and successes that we've gone through with our 2 previous boys. And with this child, hopefully make a lot better decisions. The second thing is finances, and you can't talk about Hawaii without talking about finances, cost of living, how much you gotta make, how much does things cost here. Fortunately for me, this past year has been pretty good. I've been doing good at work and it's been paying off, literally. We've been able to save a little bit, and that really takes the pressure off of living here in Hawaii. We're not living paycheck to paycheck where something crazy happens or unexpected, we don't know what we're gonna do. To have that freedom is like taking off a really heavy backpack. It's just really nice, but that doesn't come at no cost. We have to budget. We have to stay disciplined and be mindful of what we do spend. I mean, we don't earn enough to not afford to be able to not budget. We have to make sure that we keep track of everything, and as the person in the family responsible for that, it's not always a pleasant role. A lot of discussions on what we have to buy, what we need versus what we want, what's nice to have versus maybe later. Because I know it's not fun to budget. Nobody wants to go over the numbers, and nobody wants to see the reality of what you're spending money on, especially if it's kind of wasteful. But to me, that really helps us to enjoy life here. That to really appreciate that lucky you live Hawaii part, when you're not always worried about money, where you're not always constantly thinking about paying for things or keeping up with a certain lifestyle. It's just real freedom, that we can even be generous at times, and it's not that big a deal. And the third thing I'm reminded of is this YouTube channel, the YouTube videos that I get to make about Hawaii. This is sometimes tough to talk about, but I'm really thankful just for the opportunity to be able to talk about Hawaii the way that I want to talk about it. Not just from a technological standpoint where I can make videos and people out there can watch this all over the world, but just to be able to have that freedom, the creative freedom to really have the discussions that I want to have. In full transparency, I don't really know what's going on with my YouTube channel. It's been kind of stagnant for a while. And in YouTube world, if you're stagnant or you're plateauing, you're sort of moving backwards because everybody is kind of pushing forward. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the type of videos that I make, or just people are busier. People have lost interest, and that's okay. And so statistically, maybe that's true. My channel is just kind of fading out here. But from a creative standpoint, I appreciate the freedom to be able to talk about whatever I want in the context of Hawaii, things that are interesting to me. I'm not so locked into one thing. And maybe that hurts this YouTube channel in the short term, medium term, maybe even long term, I'm not sure. But I can just say, as someone creating these videos, taking my time to do this is not my full-time job, I'm able to enjoy whatever it is that I'm making. And that is, it seems like it's priceless. It's invaluable. I've seen so many creators get burned out because they're just stuck making one kind of video. They grow out of it, or they want to talk about something else. They rely on YouTube money for their lifestyle, and so they have to make certain things. But I don't feel like I have to make certain things. I can continue to have fun and interest in what I'm sharing, and I think those two things are very important to be protected from a creator standpoint, because without those things, making these videos, it just becomes another job. I enjoy my actual job, which is great, but I would hate for this to become a job that I don't enjoy, because frankly, I got better things to do with my time. I got kids, I got family, I got other interests, but I like doing this. And to be able to say that and enjoy it and just keep on going, I don't know, there's just something to that is not quantifiable in the YouTube analytics. I'm glad that I at least get to put something out there where it's a little bit more balanced. You know, social media can be so polarizing sometimes. A lot of hot takes, and while it's entertaining and clickbaity, I don't find that very helpful. And by helpful, I'm talking about really making life here better. To have discussions that are deeper, maybe more important, more valuable, that could possibly be a catalyst for change, or at least get people to see things differently, to be a little bit more helpful in a practical manner. And there is some merit to entertainment, pure entertainment videos. We all have stress, we all want to have fun. But I'm glad that I've carved out this little tiny spot, like right here. Like, there's all this other stuff out here, right? But I feel like I got this little tiny spot right here. And for anyone that's interested in Hawaii from a local's perspective, at least there's something. Because before that, I just didn't feel like there was much of that. So to close, we're all gonna get plenty busy, right? We got the holiday parties, we got all the shopping, we got all the things that come between now, November, and the end of the year, including New Year's Eve, which we'll see how that goes. I'm just reminded to remember to think about the good parts of living in Hawaii, to just kind of pause a little bit and just be like, yeah, life is good. Not in a social media brag way, not showing all the things that we have or all the experiences that we have. It's just to really just sit down and remember why it is we're lucky we live Hawaii, or more poignant, why it's thankful, why we're thankful and grateful to be living in Hawaii. By the way, this water looks really good. Whew. I'm not a beach guy, but man, I might jump in a little bit. So thanks for watching, and aloha.